Hi, Glenn Wallace here with the new Jhs Pink Panther. It's been out for a few months. It's a very cool pedal. I have never owned an original Panther. I have had a Panther Cub though, and this one's very similar to it in the delay sound. A couple different things. Obviously the footprint, very small, rather like the Jhs Bliss pedals. All their tap tempo, delay, and phaser and tremolo pedals all have this small footprint with the tap over here. So that's very cool, but this is not nearly as complicated as a Jhs Bliss pedal. It's actually very simple, and that's nice when you just want to plug in and play. Jhs Bliss stuff is great, but there's a lot to do on them. This guy, very straightforward. So first, here's my clean tone. I'm playing my Nash T63 into a Fender Deluxe Reverb mic with an Audix i5 into Pro Tools. I actually have a J-Rocket Archer on right now as well, just for a little bit of a clean boost. All right, and here is the Pink Panther. So very nice, warm, lush sound. And real quick before I get started, Jhs did do something a little different on this pedal. Usually their switches that they put on the pedals to access different modes are a lot harder to get to. This one, still not terribly easy to get to, but much easier than before. You have a tape side and a digital side. And that is cool because, well, you basically have two delay pedals in one. So going over the controls, the Panther Cub actually had modulation controls. This one just has two different modulation settings. In the center, there's no modulation. On Mod 1, it's a very light, kind of subtle modulation. And on Mod 2, it's really pretty in your face. And then, of course, all your standard stuff, mix, delay time, there's the tap tempo, and then your ratios, you have quarter notes, dotted eighth, eighth, and triplet. And on the side, external jack if you want to connect the Jhs Red Remote just for pedalboard organization. And the coolest thing about this pedal, the really unique feature, is this guy right here, which is basically a tone control. You roll further this way, it's dark. But because of the two settings on here, digital and tape, you get a lot of different sounds out of it. So here it is, 12 o'clock right here. I'm on the tape side right now. Okay, so let's go all the way back, full dark tone on the tape side now. So you really have to turn up the mix when it's all the way dark. Very back there. And you start bumping it up a little bit, it does come in. Here we are, just a little before 9 o'clock. Still very warm, moving up closer to 12 o'clock. All right, we heard 12 o'clock. Let's go up to about 2 o'clock. and all the way up. Just check the tape side out, a couple of these higher settings. When you have it higher on the dark knob, it also kind of brings out the mix of the signal a little bit. It kind of maybe acting as a treble boost. You can still hear it, but it's back there, and I did not adjust the mix knob at all. So here I'm going to go up to roughly about 2 o'clock and check it out with some of the mod settings. So here's the subtle one. All right, here's the more aggressive warbly modulation. Okay, and real quick before moving over to the digital side, let's just check out the delay time. So here is the shortest delay right here. Kind of quirky, weird sound. Here's kind of a slapback setting. And here's right in the middle. All the way forward. Those were some interesting harmonies there. So a lot of delay time available, and then of course, with the different subdivisions, you can do lots of cool stuff, which I will get to. So moving over to the digital side, now this just seems to increase the brightness of the repeats. So let me get a setting I like, and here it is at 12 o'clock right here. The dark knob at 12 o'clock. So definitely in digital delay territory. It's got that U2 kind of sound going. Let me go all the way back. You'll hear it dip under the mix again. not quite as much as when it's on the tape side. So it's still cutting through all the way back. So let's say you don't want something quite as muffled sounding as a tape delay. You can use this side and you still kind of have an analog thing going, but the repeats are cutting through a little more. Now the treble starts to come in pretty quickly as you raise this knob. You can already hear a lot more of it in there. Let's check it out with some of the mod settings. Here's the mod 1, subtle modulation. And mod 2. So one very cool thing about the Mod 2 setting for me, the tape side of the pedal is pretty dark, and the digital side, when you're back here, retains some of the darkness of the tape side. So if you put the Mod 2 setting on with this side, and because if you say you wanted something a little bit brighter than what the tape side had to offer, you can get a little more brittle tape delay that's cutting through with some cool tape style modulation on it. Okay, so a couple more things to cover here. The repeats knob, it's the amount of repeats, so all the way back, here's what it sounds like. 1 repeat, okay? There we go, 9 o'clock. So you're all getting quite a bit more just this far in. Here we are, around 10, 11-ish. And then, of course, the higher the mix knob, you know, throw some modulation on, you get some cool stuff with it. All right, 12 o'clock. I don't know what happened with that chord right there. I hit an extra note. So the repeats go for quite a bit, okay? Let me push it up more. Here it is at 3 o'clock. Okay, see, as you can see, it really starts going when you get up that high. I hit another one of those extra notes again. Very cool for swells. You can just really keep it going. All right, so last thing on here, the subdivision knob. It's very accurate with the tap. You know, here's your quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might want to turn the mix up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then you have your dotted eighths, which I love because I love to do what I have called the dotted eighth thing. It's a technical term. Eighth notes. And last, triplets. And a lot of delay pedals that have triplets as a subdivision, I never really think sound that great. The last note in the triplet, to me, on a lot of them, gets lost. And this one does not do that. So I like to use triplets if I'm playing in 6/8. I set it to kind of a slow speed. So as you can hear, the last note in the triplet does not get lost in the repeats, and I do hear that happen with a lot of delay pedals that have triplets on their subdivisions. So that's it, the Jhs Pink Panther. It's pretty awesome. Small footprint, very sturdy, tap tempo, multiple subdivisions, modulation controls. The original, well, not the original, but actually yes, the Panther and the Panther Cub, you were able to adjust the speed and the depth of the modulation. And I think, you know, what they were going for here was, you know, trying to fit everything in this smaller housing. And, you know, I guess they just had to make some sacrifices to say, okay, well, what would we rather control more, the modulation or the tone? And I think it's great that they decided to go with this, because having control over the tone of your repeats is a very, very handy tool. And to be honest, in my experience with the Panther Cub, the modulation settings that I would use pretty much just sounded like the Mod 1. And maybe I would go as extreme as the Mod 2, but they kind of nailed it for where a lot of guys choose to put their settings, unless you're, you know, you're trying to get really, really, really weird and really out there, which I think the Mod 2 does pretty well. So, I hope you got something out of it. Like and subscribe for more videos. Have a good one.